This is the victim-predator flip. The most dangerous person you will ever meet won't look unstable. They won't yell, they won't threaten you, and they may even be the most liked person in the room. That is exactly what makes them dangerous. A psychopath might attack you directly, but this person does something colder. They collect leverage. They offer small favors, not because they care, but because favors create strings. And then, one day, you notice your boss is doubting you. Your friends are suddenly quiet. Someone you trusted is repeating a story that makes you look like the problem. The person who started it? They're calm, concerned, helpful. If you've ever watched people turn against you and couldn't prove who was pulling the strings, pay attention. This is what some people would call a high-level Machiavellian, a personality type more dangerous than a psychopath, because they control the room without anyone ever seeing their hand. But in real life, it does not feel like a psychology term. It feels like someone quietly moving people, favors, secrets, and suspicion around you before you realize there is a game. A narcissist needs you to notice them. This person needs you to not notice them while they change the locks. One wants your praise, the other wants your position. They are not reacting, they are architecting. Every move is deliberate, patient, and designed to leave no fingerprints. There are 7 moves. Learn them in order, because they build on each other. The first move is the one that makes you question your own mind. Maybe this happened to you. You said something clearly. You remember exactly how it went. And then, in front of other people, you are the unstable one, and they are the concerned one. The counter move is not to explain yourself. Explanation feeds the frame. You go quiet, you observe, and you stop performing reasonableness for an audience that is already being managed. The second move is warmer, more personal, and that is what makes it harder to catch. They check in. They share something personal first, a struggle, a vulnerability, something that sounds like trust being offered. And because you are a decent person, you share something back. A fear, a frustration, something private. This is forced intimacy. They are not getting close to connect. They are getting close to collect. Every detail you offer tells them where you are exposed. They are mapping your pressure points under the cover of friendship. The tell is the pause after they finish sharing. The slight lean forward. They are not waiting for comfort. They are waiting for your secrets. You can be warm without being open. That is not coldness. That is knowing the difference between someone who wants to know you and someone who wants to know your weak points. The third move is practical and almost invisible. They do something for you. A small favor. They cover for you, pass along useful information, or help you out of a minor bind. It feels generous. The favor was never free. The danger isn't the help, it's the timing. They are buying an obligation before you've even agreed to the sale. When someone you barely know steps in a little too quickly, a little too smoothly, that discomfort you feel is information. Something was offered before it was earned. They are building a ledger you do not know exists, and when the moment comes, when they need you to stay quiet or look the other way, the ledger opens. You feel the pull of obligation without being able to name where it came from. That pull is the string. Most people think the danger is what this person says to you, but as we move into these last 3 signs, you'll see that the real damage happens when you aren't even in the room. The fourth move is quiet. You will not hear it happening. They take what you shared, the frustration, the fear, the private detail, and they begin moving it. Not as gossip, as concern. I'm a little worried about her, honestly. He said something the other day that stuck with me. I don't want to say too much, but just keep an eye on things. This is quietly undermining. They are not attacking your reputation directly. They are softening it, placing a small question mark next to your name in the minds of people who matter. And because it sounds like concern, nobody pushes back. The seed goes in clean. By the time you notice people treating you differently, the information has already traveled. You cannot trace it. You cannot correct it, because it was never stated as a fact, only as a worry. The fifth move is where the architecture becomes visible, but only if you know what you are looking at. They have been talking, quietly, separately, to different people. Each conversation felt private, but they were coordinated. And now, when a conflict arises, you look around and realize the room is not neutral. The room has already been briefed. This is a tactical triangulation play, often called flying monkeys, but here it is used with professional precision. They do not confront you. They arrange for others to do it. The people coming at you believe they are protecting someone who was hurt. They are ganging up and calling it concern. They are mobbing and calling it accountability. They have turned the room into a courtroom. And they filed the case before you knew there was a charge. Here is what the triangulation looks like. They tell your close friend something that makes your friend suspicious of you. They tell your colleague something that makes your colleague feel like they have inside information. They tell your family member something that makes your family member feel like they finally understand a pattern. None of these people compared notes. All of them now see you through the same lens, one this person built and handed out before you said a word. The sixth move is the one that locks the door. Before you can tell your side, they have already told theirs. Not as an attack, as a preemptive concern. I've been trying to figure out how to handle this. I didn't want to say anything, but people have been asking me questions. They don't need you to trust them. They need the room to trust them more than it trusts you. By the time you speak, you are already defending. And a person defending sounds less credible than a person who came forward first. They knew that. That is exactly why they moved first. Your truth arrives late, and late truth sounds like damage control. If you find yourself in this position, there is one sentence worth saying calmly to the people around you. I notice this keeps moving through other people instead of coming directly to me. No anger, no long explanation. That sentence names the method and puts it on display. The seventh move is the coldest one. Once the architecture is complete, once the room has been briefed and the doubt has been planted, they step back. They get busy. They drift. Maybe they express quiet sadness about how things turned out. Maybe they say nothing at all. They have thrown you to the wolves and walked away from the pen. And here is what makes this the most disorienting part. You are still in the room, still trying to explain, still trying to piece together what happened. But the social reality has already been rewritten. People who used to be warm are now careful. People who used to trust you now seem to be waiting. You have been made into a non-person, not by a dramatic accusation, but by a slow, patient campaign that was finished before you realized it had started. The confusion you feel is not weakness. It is the correct response to something that was designed to be invisible. Here is what changes once you see the full sequence. You stop explaining yourself to rooms that have already been managed. You stop trying to prove your version to people who were handed a different version first. You start watching for the pattern early, the concern that collects too much, the favor that arrives before trust has been earned, the quiet conversations that happen just before the temperature in the room shifts. When you feel the first test, that small moment where someone is measuring how much you will yield, you do not rush to smooth it over. You observe it. You name it quietly to yourself. You stop giving away the reactions they need to build the case. The most protected person in this situation is not the loudest one. It is the one who stopped being readable before the architecture was finished. And if you see these strings being pulled, they have already finished their initial scan. They did not choose you by accident. To see the specific compliance test they use to mark you as a target, watch this next.